Hello students, welcome to another examiner walkthrough video from Diplomaly. Today we'll be going over a case study called GreenTech Innovations, and this is a case study from Unit 1. This is the third part video for this case study looking at question C and question D. You might want to refer to the other walkthrough videos for the other parts of the question. In this particular video, we will look at two questions. One, we'll look at the syllabus content on vision and mission statement. So this is assessed at the AO2 level, okay? And we will also look at the syllabus content in terms of the internal and external economies and this economies of scale. This is from topic 1.5, okay, whereas vision statement is from unit or topic 1.3. So these two questions are from different topics within unit 1, but they are part of this same case study. And it is also assessed at the AO2 level. So this is the information from the case study, which you should have access to already. And a quick look at the question, okay? We are given a 2-mark question, and it's an explain 2-mark question, meaning that this is an AO1 type of question, even though the command term is explain, which is normally an AO2 level question. It is an AO1 question, so it means that you're looking at, a response that might not require you to give application. Now, whether or not you do need to give application or link it to the case study depends on the phrasing and the wording of the question. And if we take a look at it, it says explain one role of a mission statement for GTI. The fact that it states for GTI in the case study, sorry, in the question means that you do need to apply application skill. Okay, and here we're talking about one role. Okay, so that's exactly what you need to answer. The role of mission statement. So that is your BM terminology. So when you're looking at questions, even as a simple 2-mark question, you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're answering. You want to take a little bit of time just to unpack the question very clearly. And rather than, in an exam where you dive straight into answering the question, you want to know exactly what you're being asked. Okay, so number one, you're not answering the wrong thing. Number two, you are structuring your response in a manner that, that is expected by the examiners. Okay. And because this is a 2-mark question, you are marked as 1+1. And because it is a question that asks you to demonstrate application skill, I would recommend that you write 3 sentences for this response. Okay, so your first sentence is going to talk about the role or identify the role. Your second to the third sentence will then explain the role in context of the case, right? So in context of GTI, you might also link it to perhaps, some sort of impact of having that role, right? So the impact of the role on GTI, okay, as a business. And again, this impact can be a positive impact, it can be a negative impact. But of course, if we're talking about the role of a mission statement in this case, it's implying that we should be looking at the positive impact for GTI in creating a mission statement. So this is the breakdown of how your marks are allocated, okay? And this is the exemplar response. So as you can see, you start off your response by clearly echoing what the question is asking you, the role, right? So one role. And then you're going to say one role of mission statement is to provide a sense of direction and guide strategic decisions, right? So this part is really straight from your textbook, your notes, or even if you do a quick Google search on the internet and ask one role of mission statement, you will be able to find something along the lines of this. So this is really straight from the textbook. It is the role that you do unfortunately need to memorize, okay, to an extent. But of course, you don't need to memorize the words from your textbook word for word, but you do need to be able to gauge a very similar meaning. So then you can write this down in the first sentence in a question like this. Okay, so after this first sentence, then you're going to explain. Okay, it could be explaining in a theoretical sense what it means to have a sense of direction by having this mission statement. So how exactly does a mission statement help a business guide their decisions and to provide a direction? Or you can immediately take that theory and link it to the case study, okay, to demonstrate both application skill and also the theoretical understanding of a mission statement. So as you can see, the approach taken here is in the second sentence, it starts explaining what this mission statement is. It serves as a guiding statement outlining its purpose of existence. So why does a business exist? Okay. And GTI, okay, can evaluate the option in terms of their ability to develop renewable energy production. So what you can see is the first half of this sentence is theory. The second half is it links to the application or the case. So here, by having a mission statement, it not only tells us about why GTI exists as a business organization, but having this mission statement could then help guide them in terms of their renewable energy production and what exactly they need to do as a business in order for them to continue to exist and thrive. Okay. And then in the third sentence, it links it to a bit of an impact on the business. It says it serves to guide GTI the type of external growth to pursue in. So this is where you can see a bit of the decision making, right? That was mentioned right here in your first sentence. So to guide strategic decision, right? It helps them, by having a mission statement, it helps guide what kind of external growth they want to pursue, right? And this growth strategy should definitely align with the aspects of what they mentioned in their mission statement, which is staying true to their commitment on sustainability and also to create innovative solutions for the company as well. So this would be a very standard 2-mark question that demonstrates application skill as well. And as you can see, the response is approximately 3 sentences. In part D of the question here, you're being asked a 2-mark question again, and the command term this time is describe, and describe is an AO1 command term. Okay? But again, do we need to demonstrate application skill? Okay, if you take a look at the question again, the answer is yes, because you see the company name, a GTI. So this is again signposting you as a student, as a candidate, that you do need to make sure that whatever you describe here should link to the case study. So describe one type of economies of scale that GTI were able to take advantage of. What you can see here is you're talking about one type of EOS. So the BM terminology here we're talking about is economies of scale. And you need to be able to describe one type of that, right? So when it comes to economies of scale, there's many different types. This is from unit 1.5. Okay, and if you go back into that unit, which is growth and evolution, you will know that there are many various types of economies of scale, such as purchasing economies of scale, marketing economies of scale, technical economies of scale, financial economies of scale, managerial economies of scale, right? So there's many of these different types. What is important for you to figure out is which of these types would be more relevant for the business, okay? So that's something to consider, right? And if you just go back and take a look at, the case study information, what you want to do is from the case study, you want to see if are any information that talks about, perhaps GTI is, planning to do a large purchase, for example, right? Now, if it's about, buying a large purchase of, equipment or raw materials, okay, or component parts to help them develop these green technologies, then you might want to consider, purchasing economies of scale could be a possible one that you want to explore. When you're thinking about, for example, financial economies of scale, what you want to look at from the case study is, are there information or any hint about, perhaps, the company borrowing, some sort of loan, right? And you also want to, take a look at, the scale of the business. So if it's a small business and they're taking a large bank loan, it is really unlikely that they would be able to enjoy financial economies of scale. because financial economies of scale, in other words, is, when you borrow money as a business, you're able to get a much lower interest rate than maybe another person who, might not be as reputable as a business, or they might not have been, very vigilant, okay, with the payment, okay, on their debts, right? So, banks would be worried if, a company isn't able to pay them back regularly on time. So next time when they lend money to them, it is usually very unlikely that, they would be able to get a more favorable interest rate because, for obvious reason, the bank would think that they are pretty risky. Okay, so in that case, they wouldn't be able to enjoy financial economies of scale. Now, if you're thinking about perhaps marketing economies of scale, again, you want to think about the scale of the business. Okay, so it's usually larger businesses that are able to benefit from lower average costs on their marketing because they have many different business operations around the world. So, a very prime example would be McDonald's. McDonald's uses pretty much the same marketing campaign, the I'm Loving It marketing campaign. And that's because, with that marketing campaign, the cost to develop the campaign can be spread across many different, geographical regions that McDonald's operates in. So for McDonald's, by using that same tagline, same marketing campaign, they are able to enjoy lower costs or lower average costs per unit of goods that they produce, meaning that they are able to enjoy marketing economies of scale. So those are just two examples that you can think about and how this might help you identify the more appropriate economies of scale. Okay, and this is again the mark scheme, okay, of how examiners award the marks for the students. And this is the exemplar walkthrough response. So if you take a look at the response here, the economies of scale that has been chosen is purchasing economies of scale. Okay, so a simple way to remember purchasing economies of scale is getting discounts, okay, from bulk buying. Okay, bulk buying is when you buy, any materials, goods and services, okay, in a large volume, okay, so in a large bulk. And if you're buying a large bulk, usually you have the power to ask your supplier, okay, if they can give you a discount because you're buying so many of these, right? But in the context of GTI, they're able to take advantage of purchasing economies of scale. So this is the first sentence where you identify the EOS. And then in the second sentence is where you explain, and it could be in theory, obviously, what this EOS is about, right? So in this case, um, you can see that, purchasing economies of scale, okay, here it's being referred to bulk purchases, okay, of the raw materials for panel production. So what you see here is in the second sentence, application is already being shown because, the response here links the purchase of these raw materials, and you're talking about it buying in bulk and for the purpose of panel production. So this part is obviously talking about the types of products produced, okay? And in the third sentence, that's when you want to, link to impact on business, again, to show a bit more application. So if you take a look at the third sentence, okay, or the second half of the second sentence, it says that they were large enough to order large quantities such that average cost was reduced. So this is demonstrating, GTI being able to enjoy discount, which is obviously, something that is enjoyed as a business is able to benefit from purchasing economies of scale. And as you can see very, very clearly from the last sentence, it has helped them lower costs and enhance product competitiveness. Okay, this would be a financial impact, okay, that is a result of having purchasing economies of scale, right? And by having a lower cost to produce, it does allow the business to price their product, okay, more competitively because then, of course, they don't need to, set a high price to recover the high cost of production, okay? They don't need to do that because they have purchasing economies of scale, they're able to lower their average costs and average cost of production. Therefore, they have the flexibility and the capacity to lower their selling price and still earn a profit margin, okay, as a result of being able to enjoy purchasing economies of scale. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Please feel free to browse around the Diplomaly site for more additional resources, and I will see you next time.